What is up, chat man? Today we are reacting to 1992 Michael Jordan proved he was inevitable. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was highly recommended. As you guys know, we've been, reacting to old NBA content on this channel, and I've been getting a lot of knowledge on Michael Jordan, I'll be honest. Since I'm Gen Z, so I don't really know too much, but you guys been helping me a lot, recommending me a lot of stuff to react to. I appreciate all the support, man. And let's get straight into the video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. Let's get straight in.
The shrug that was heard around the world came after his sixth three-pointer. Chicago Stadium was shaking. Over 18,000 fans on their feet, watching something impossible unfold. Michael Jordan turned to Magic Johnson at the broadcast table.
What?
Palms up, shoulders raised, a gesture that said everything and nothing all at once. But the real story of 1992 started.
As a Gen Z person, I always see this emoji from Michael Jordan, the shrug. I don't know the backstory behind it though. So maybe I'll find out this video.
Months earlier, when Jordan picked up a book with his name on the cover and hated every word of it.
What?
In 1991, Michael Jordan finally climbed the mountain, but the next year, the whispers started. Was it just one magical season? Could he really lead a dynasty? Or was the NBA about to figure him out? In 1992, Jordan gave his answer. Coming off their first ever championship, the Bulls didn't miss a beat. After a
Was he hella doubted this year? Like, was he really doubted heavily going into 1992? Or was the expectations even higher? Let me know down below.
1-2 start that had some critics already sharpening their knives, they rattled off 14 straight wins. Chicago's stadium became a fortress. Opposing teams could feel the championship confidence radiating from the walls. Then came another 13-game streak in January, the Bulls steamrolling through the league, hitting the All-Star break at 39-9. They finished the season with the league's best record at 67-15. Locking up the number 1 seed in the East and heading into their 8th straight postseason. For context, only 3 teams in NBA history had won more games in a regular season. The 72 Lakers, the 67 76ers, and the 73 Celtics. They looked like a dynasty in the making. Michael Jordan put together another dominant campaign, winning his 2nd straight MVP.
I have a question. When, it was 1991, did he have a bigger leap? Like, was he better the year before or 1992 extremely way better? Like, he took the NBA by storm, I'm talking about. Like, let me know your experience as an audience, from, at this time, if you were at the games or, you were just watching this.
And 6th consecutive scoring title. But this time, he wasn't carrying the load alone. Scottie Pippen had transformed into a legitimate two-way superstar, earning all NBA second-team honors and joining MJ as a starter in the All-Star game. Horace Grant was becoming one of the league's best power forwards, averaging 14.2 points and 10 rebounds a game while shooting an impressive 57.8% from the field. By this point, Jordan had finally shaken one of the biggest criticisms of his career, his inability to get past the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, led by Isaiah.
Oh my God, on this channel we did react to the Bad Boy Pistons, and you guys can go watch that reaction. That was insane. I didn't even know a Jordan rule existed.
Thomas and coached by Chuck Daly. They had bullied and blocked the Bulls in 3 straight playoffs from 88 to 90. Their infamous Jordan rules, defense was designed to swarm, hit, and frustrate him at every turn.
Wow.
Every drive to the basket meant a forearm to the ribs, an elbow to the head, or a hard foul that sent him sprawling to the floor. Things changed when Phil Jackson took over in 1989, with Tex Winter beside him, preaching the triangle offense, and a young core maturing around Jordan. The Bulls finally broke through in 1991, sweeping Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals on their way to a title. The image of Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons walking off the court without shaking hands became a symbol of the passing of the torch. That marked the beginning of a partnership between Jackson, Jordan, and...
Do you think that sparked everything when they didn't shake Jordan's hand or the Bulls team's hands at all? The Pistons? Did that spark something in the Bulls franchise? I'm genuinely curious.
and Pippen that would define an era and win 6 championships. But 1992 would test whether that partnership would withstand success, scrutiny, and a controversial tell-all book that threatened to tear apart Jordan's carefully crafted image. By the early 90s, Jordan's image was everywhere. Nike,
What?
Gatorade, McDonald's, Wheaties, Hanes underwear.
So you're telling me, growing up, Michael Jordan was on everything? I've never seen LeBron like this, and I'm the biggest LeBron fan.
David Falk, his agent, had turned MJ into more than a basketball player. He was a global brand worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He was marketed as flawless, clean-cut, family-friendly, and otherworldly on the court. As Playboy put it, he was the quintessential gentleman, consummate sportsman, clean-living family man, and modest, down-to-earth, levitating demigod. But Jordan himself never fully bought into the myth. He once admitted he had recurring dreams of making a mistake off the court and watching his public image crumble. It's like they've been waiting for it, and now it's here, he said. I told you so. And that moment did come, sort of, not on the court, but in print. The 91-92 season wasn't just a test of skill, it was a test of character, because this time, the Jordan rules had nothing to do with the Detroit Pistons. In November 1991, just months after the Bulls won their first title, Chicago Tribune beat writer Sam Smith published a controversial tell-all book titled The Jordan Rules. The timing couldn't have been worse, or better if you were trying to sell books. Here was Jordan, fresh off his first championship, finally validated as a winner. And suddenly this book arrives, painting him as a tyrant in high tops. The book chronicled the Bulls' 1990.
Wait, did this ruin Michael Jordan's career at the time, chat?
91 championship season in meticulous detail, but also featured stories from coaches and teammates dating back to MJ's earlier years with the team. Smith had unprecedented access, and he used it to show readers a side of Jordan that Nike would never put in a commercial. The book didn't just paint Jordan as evil, but it pulled back the curtain to reveal a more raw, complicated version of him. Smith wrote, he often backed away from the traditional leadership role, and he rarely spoke with his teammates, other than to taunt them with his rapier wit. Jordan was less team captain, more merciless competitor, long before it became trendy to romanticize athletes as ruthless winners. But some of MJ's antics seemed to cross the line. The stories were brutal. Jordan had berated teammates in practice, calling them losers and scrubs.
Is this from first-hand experience, or he just made this up during the time, and then, with the book and everything? Did he just make this up, or is this actually what he was experiencing?
Frozen out players he didn't respect, refusing to pass on the ball even in crucial moments. He'd badmouth coaching decisions to reporters, trash-talked his own teammates during games, openly questioned general manager Jerry Krause's moves, and even skipped team events when he didn't feel like participating or was still ticked off by someone from a previous game. One story stood out among the rest. He called teammate Will Perdue Will Vanderbilt, saying he doesn't deserve to be named after a Big Ten school. The insult was classic Jordan, clever, cutting, and designed to humiliate.
That's crazy.
Then came the practice incident. Perdue, tired of being pushed around, finally set a hard screen on Jordan. MJ's response? He punched Perdue twice in the head, shouting, "Why the hell don't you ever set a pick like that in a game?"
What? Is this real? Oh my God.
There were more. Brad Sellers, a forward drafted in 1986, was ridden so hard by Jordan that he essentially lost his confidence and flamed out of the league. Stacey King was mocked for his weight. Even Horace Grant, who would become a key contributor, was screamed at during the 1990 playoffs. "You're a loser. You've always been a loser."
Like the best Robin of all time.
but Portland kept packing the paint, daring him to shoot from the outside. So he did. The first three came with 2:54 left in the quarter. Swish. The second came early in the second quarter. Jordan pulling up in transition. Swish. By the time
Jordan's jump shot is like super smooth and perfect.
he hit his third, the crowd was buzzing. This wasn't the Jordan they knew, the slasher, the mid-range assassin. This was something different. The fourth three-pointer brought Chicago Stadium to its feet. The noise was deafening, a wall of sound that seemed to lift Jordan higher. The fifth had fans looking at each other in disbelief. Is this really happening? Then came the sixth. Jordan caught the ball at top of the arc, guarded by Cliff Robertson. Without hesitation, he rose up and fired. The ball hadn't
It happened from Jordan being on fire. Oh.
even reached the basket when Jordan turned to Robertson and started shaking his head. No, 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 almost mocking the futility of trying to guard him. Then came the moment that would live forever. Jordan turned to the broadcast table when Magic Johnson was calling the game for NBC. He raised his palms, shrugged his shoulders, and gave that iconic gesture. What can I even say? Even I don't know how I'm doing this. I was in a zone, Jordan explained after the game. The first one felt so good, I had to take more. I couldn't miss. The threes were like free throws. They just kept dropping. I didn't know what was happening. He finished the half with 35 points, a finals record. 6 three-pointers, another finals record. The Bulls led 66-51 at halftime and never looked back. The final score was 122-89, a complete demolition. Jordan finished with 39 points in just 34 minutes. They dared me early, Jordan said. Most teams will give me that. I wasn't looking for it, but when you feel the rhythm, you have to take it. Portland's Buck Williams was in awe. It's like looking down the barrel of a Magnum when he shoots the ball like that. It's kind of frightening. He's sensational at driving to the basket, so we have to take his driver's license away. But we have to be concerned about the three-pointer. We can't let him get looks at the
Basically, Jordan's unguardable. He can do everything on the court. That's what he's trying to say.
basket like that, or we'll be in for a very long night. And yet, even after that performance, Jordan resisted the idea of becoming a three-point specialist. I don't want to live with this three image too long because it takes away from some parts of my game, he said. I like going to the hole. That creativity part of my game. I don't want to lose that. The shrug wasn't just a finals moment. It was Jordan telling the world.
So Jordan could have basically been like a Stephen Curry if he wanted to. Is that crazy to say? He likes to drive in his mid-range. That's his game. But let me know down below.
Stop comparing me to anyone else. There's only one of me.
That is true.
But champions don't roll over after one punch, and Portland proved their mettle in Game 2. The Blazers came out aggressive, taking an early lead and maintaining it throughout. They were up 9 at halftime, and even after the Bulls stormed back behind 14 third-quarter points from MJ, Portland had one more run in them. The game turned bizarre in the final minutes, with the Bulls up 10 and Clyde Drexler fouled out. Jordan committed a foul and then, frustrated by non-call moments earlier, earned a technical foul. The momentum swung completely. Danny Ainge, the veteran guard acquired from Sacramento, scored 6 points in the final minute of overtime. The Blazers stunned Chicago, 115-104. The Bulls' worst home finals loss ever. We got careless, Jordan admitted. We thought we had them down and we relaxed. You can't do that in the finals. The series shifted to Portland's Memorial Coliseum, where the Blazers had been nearly unbeatable all season. But Game 3 was a defensive masterclass by Chicago. They held Portland to just 84 points, only 39 in the second half, and just 28 field goals total. All franchise playoff lows. The Blazers went scoreless for stretches of 3, 4, even 5 minutes at a time. Jordan scored 26, but it was the Bulls' defense that won.
I think the Bulls had one of the best defense of all time. I feel like they generally did. Because not a lot of teams went against them. They probably didn't have the best offense, but their defense, I feel like, is insane.
On that game. Game 4 started the same way. Chicago jumped out 10-2, and it looked like another blowout was coming. But Portland, playing with the desperation of a team facing a 3-1 deficit, clawed back. They cut it to 3 by halftime and exploded in the fourth quarter, going on a 15-6 run, while Jordan went scoreless in the final 10 minutes and 26 seconds. The fatigue of 3 straight deep playoff runs was showing. the series was tied 2-all. I got a little winded, MJ admitted after the game. I had to play a lot of minutes when Scotty was in foul trouble. I really didn't have the legs to make the shots. They say when you're tired, your legs are the first to go. Phil Jackson later admitted that if Jordan had gotten more help in those crucial moments of games 2 and 4, the series might have been over already. But now they had to go back to Chicago for game 5. Jordan responded like the champion he was. Despite briefly leaving the game with an ankle injury, he poured in 46 points on 14 of 23 shooting,
46 in the finals is super hard to do.
including 16 of 19 from the free-throw line. It was vintage Jordan, attacking the basket relentlessly, drawing fouls, finishing through contact. Pippen added 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists, just missing a triple-double.
Hey.
The Bulls won 119 to 106. Game 6, June 14, 1992, Chicago Stadium. A chance to clinch back-to-back championships on their home floor. The crowd arrived early, the noise building throughout warm-ups. This was supposed to be a coronation. Portland had other ideas. The Blazers came out like a team possessed. They held Jordan scoreless for the first 11 minutes, an eternity for someone who averaged over
That's
30 points a game.
crazy.
Portland's defense was swarming, physical, desperate.
They did that to Jordan, bro? For that long? They came in different that game.
They built a 17-point lead in the second quarter and maintained control throughout the third. By the end of the period, it was 79 to 64. The Chicago crowd was nervous. Jordan was forcing shots, trying to will his team back single-handedly. Nothing was working. That's when Tex Winter, the architect of the triangle offense, made a suggestion that would become the stuff of Bulls legend. He turned to Phil Jackson during a timeout. "Sit Michael," Winter said. "Let the others play." It was basketball hearsay. Bench the greatest player in the world in the fourth quarter of a potential clinching game. But Jackson, the Zen master, who preached about letting go of outcomes, made the
Why would he bench him though? Is that about to get crazy?
boldest decision of his coaching career. To start the final quarter, he rolled out a lineup that no one saw coming. Scottie Pippen, B.J. Armstrong, Stacey King, Bobby Hansen, and Scott Williams.
What?
4 reserves and Pippen. No Jordan. What happened next changed the course of NBA history. That unlikely unit opened the fourth quarter with a stunning 14-2 run. Bobby Hansen, who'd played sparingly all playoffs, hit a 3. Stacey King, mocked by Jordan as Big Dripper, scored inside. B.J. Armstrong pushed the pace. Scott Williams grabbed offensive rebounds, and Pippen orchestrated it all. A maestro conducting a suddenly symphonic Bulls attack. The stadium exploded with each basket. Fans who'd been sitting on their hands moments earlier were on their feet, screaming themselves hoarse. Portland called timeout after timeout, but couldn't stop the avalanche. In less than 5 minutes, a 15-point deficit had shrunk to 3.
A comeback like that? A comeback like that? Okay, maybe that.
81 to 78. When Jordan checked back in, he was a different player. The rest had refreshed his legs, but more importantly, watching his teammates succeed had reminded him of a fundamental truth. He didn't have to do it alone. The triangle offense, the system he'd resisted, the teammates he'd berated, they were good enough. Jordan and Pippen took over from there, combining to score Chicago's final 19 points. MJ finished with 33 points, Pippen with 26 and 8 assists. The Bulls
I feel like Pippen's the best sidekick of all time. He always shows up.
completed the comeback, winning 97-93. As the final buzzer sounded, Jordan found the ball and clutched it to his chest, just as he had the year before. Confetti fell from the rafters, the crowd's roar was deafening. Back-to-back championships. In the chaos of the celebration,
Wow.
Jordan found Drexler amid court. "Much respect," he said, embracing his rival. But the message was clear. The comparisons were over. There was only one Michael Jordan.
That probably made the comparison die down and it wasn't even close anymore, probably.
The 1992 championship meant more than just back-to-back titles. It proved that Jordan could evolve, could trust his teammates, could win without scoring 40 every night. The triangle offense worked. Phil Jackson's unconventional methods, meditation, Native American philosophy, benching superstars, worked. The supporting cast, once dismissed as Jordan's lackeys or the Jordanaires, had proven themselves when it mattered most. Sam Smith's book, which could have been a distraction, became fuel. Every story about Jordan's ruthlessness, his demanding nature, his refusal to accept anything but excellence, it all looked different now through the lens of back-to-back championships. These weren't character flaws, they were the ingredients of a champion. Will Perdue, the target of Jordan's punches, was still on the team, playing his role. The culture of accountability Jordan created, however harsh, had produced results. The doubters who wondered if 1991 was a fluke had their answer.
I feel like Jordan, based on this, did Jordan have the most faith in 1992? That's how you think about it.
Those who compared him to Clyde Drexler fell silent forever. The questions about whether Jordan would win multiple titles like Magic and Bird were settled. In fact, Jordan had done something neither Magic nor Bird had done at their peaks, win back-to-back titles as the undisputed best player on the planet. But perhaps Magic Johnson himself said it best during Game 1 broadcast, right after the shrug. I played against Michael for 9 years, and I've never seen him hit threes like this. This is scary. Scary was right, because this wasn't the high-flying, reckless Jordan of the 1980s anymore. This was Jordan 2.0, a player who had learned to trust, learned to conserve energy, learned to destroy you in whatever way the game demanded.
Jordan used to jump all around the court doing anything back then in the 80s, didn't he?
He could beat you with threes, like in Game 1. He could beat you with defense, like in Game 3. He could beat you by getting to the line, like in Game 5. And he could beat you by letting his teammates beat you, like in Game 6. The 1992 finals weren't just about silencing doubters, they were about transformation. From individual brilliance to team excellence. From one championship to a dynasty in the making. The shrug wasn't just a gesture, it was a coronation. The moment Michael Jordan stopped being compared to anyone. The moment he transcended the sport itself. Because after 1992, there was Jordan and there was everyone else. I think people saw the difference between me and Clyde, Jordan reflected years later, and they saw that I was going to be there for a while. He was right. 4 more championships would follow, but they all traced back to this moment, this series, this shrug. The doubters had been silenced, the dynasty had begun.
Chat, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I wasn't expecting this. Genuinely, I didn't expect this out of Michael Jordan in 1992. I feel like he was a big underdog even though he won his championship. I feel like that's exactly what Jason Tatum's going through right now. He just won a championship, but people still don't want to give him credit for that. He just got injured, by the way, also. But let me know if that is similar because Michael Jordan was getting compared to Clyde Drexler, and I didn't even know that. Clyde Drexler. I didn't even know they were even in the same rank. I thought Jordan was way ahead, but there was a time where that was a thing, and that was insane. And I appreciate you guys for for recommending me this video. You guys should recommend me some more stuff to react to. But this is the end of the video, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man, and I'll catch y'all next time. But also tune into the Twitch. But yep, catch y'all next time. Yes, sir.